This is reposted.
The world lost a broadcasting legend when Larry King recently passed away. He told the LA Times once, quote, "I ask dumb. When I first started, I was 23 years old and I had a priest on, a Catholic priest, and I asked how many children he had. I was dumb." My friend Herbie Cohen said, "You know the secret of your success? Dumb. By dumb, he means help me. I don't understand." First off, Mr. Keller, you're a little bit younger than me. Do you remember Larry King live on CNN?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I remember him interviewing Jerry Seinfeld and asking if he got canceled. One of his most famous interviews.
And recently, Jerry Seinfeld had to go on and like clarify that because of him passing away, kind of got some virality again to it.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I agree with this. I don't think Larry King was that great. Like a little bit of prep, it goes a long way. But I think in general, people tend to take the position that they're experts in things that they're not. Right in front of my face right now, I'm doing construction, and I had a Finnish carpenter come in to do all of our cabinets, and there's very specific details that matter. And I don't understand how the sink marries with the countertops, marries with the stone top. And I was like, I understand this is a dumb question. I should know this. I'm a contractor, but can you explain this detail to me? And I think a lot of people's ego gets in the way by not asking dumb questions.
I think that's a lot of, and Larry King has said this, a lot of his success is that he never posed as an intellectual. He never like made it seem like he knew a lot.
Right.
He, asked dumb questions. Although I like the idea of being somewhere in the middle ground about asking dumb questions. Like he famously said, he didn't want to prepare for an interview because he wanted to be the everyman who didn't know what was going on about a French ballet dancer. But I like the idea of knowing a little bit about the French ballet dancer so I can connect who they are to the question I want to ask.
Well, yeah, the little bit of prep gets you. If you don't do any prep, there's little gems that are going to be uncovered. So maybe you're interviewing a prima ballerina who is also a grandmaster in chess. But if you're interviewing her about the ballet opening, you're not going to get into the chess if you didn't do any research. So like, but I guess to push back on my own point, the same thing is like with brainstorming. There's no dumb questions or no dumb ideas, because just because you ask a dumb question doesn't mean that it can't lead to something good. So,
well, I think there's a middle ground between Larry King and Terry Gross on NPR, right? If you listen to a Terry Gross interview, she asks a question for 2 minutes and then turns it over. It's like, and whereas Larry King was like, he just asked a quick question and let the interviewer talk. It's like, just stop talking. I feel like Terry Gross wants to hear her own voice as opposed to just asking a question.
Well, she does. She does have a really nice voice, so I'll give her that. Yeah, I mean, there is a middle ground on being prepared, and again, I think it just boils down to your ego on not being willing to look stupid. I know sometimes I haven't asked questions because I should have known the answer, or I felt like I should have known the answer, and ended up being worse off for it.
Yeah, that was my question. Like in school, were you the person if a teacher, brought up a point on the blackboard and said, okay, any questions? Would you, if you didn't understand, raise your hand and be like, I don't understand that? Or if a plumber comes over and says something that goes over to your head to be like, hey, I didn't get that. Because I'm not. I literally just stay silent and then Google it later.
I don't know if I was the one to ask questions, but I wasn't afraid to talk during class. So maybe I was something in between. Another example of maybe you could say this is a dumb question, but my brother was redoing his bathroom and I'm redoing this house. And I was like, yeah, man, you never accept the first offer that a subcontractor gives you as a quote. And everyone thinks it's a dumb question to be like, hey, can you do it for less? And I think we've had only one person has said no. Everyone I've gotten money off of it. And my brother's like, we should have asked to get money off. And so can I get a discount is not a dumb question, but people might be afraid to say it.
My wife would just take that as like you're putting our pride on the line if you ask if we could get it cheaper, but which we have to do all the time in San Francisco for everything because people just overpay in San Francisco, like sporting events, gyms, everything. We always are like, hey, we can't pay that.
I mean, that's exactly my point on ego getting in the way.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's it.
I don't know. Like, is Jeff Bezos asking for a discount? His pride getting in the way? I mean, that's a waste of his time, but
You know, the other thing about Larry King, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but he like lived a completely full life. He was married 8 times. He went into bankruptcy in 1960. He like lost a lot of money at the racetrack. He had charges dropped for all sorts of defrauding former business partners. So like politicians and people would always come on a show and they wouldn't feel bad because it was like, hey, Larry King, he's not judging me.
Do you think if Larry King started out today, he would make it? Like, do you think you could start a talk show on CNN under the premise of I'm not going to prepare? I'm an average dude.
That's a great question.
I don't think so. I think some people got that sweet spot of entertainment, and like Barbara Walters, I don't think would make it.
Like you're saying, like in this day and age, you have to be so opinionated to either the right or the left. You just can't make it if you're a guy asking questions on TV.
I mean, I think so. I mean, I don't know how he got his start, and maybe he would make it no matter what time it is, but I just don't see, with the amount of content that's out there right now, people tuning in to a unprepared like he wasn't like quick on his feet. Like Adam Carolla does a thing called Adam Carolla's Unprepared, and it kind of, he just does improv on it, and he can make it interesting. But where are you from? Like
Well, I mean, that's the last thing I'd like to say about Larry King. And he said this too, which I kind of, was just curious. Like if a plumber would come over to his house, he'd be like, hey, where are you from? And then they just strike up a conversation. He wasn't like saying like dead air, fill the time, how's the weather? He was like generally curious about where the guy that was coming to fix his plumbing was from. And I don't know, I just think that's a really cool thing in life, to be curious about where your plumber's from.
I want to clarify that it sounds like I'm saying Larry King is a terrible person. I'm not. I'm just saying I didn't really like his show. Like he seemed like he was maybe a nice person. But if you do want someone to talk to, have a contractor to come to your house, because they are all chatty. They all
really?
Yeah, they talk.
Is it interesting?
It depends. Most of the time, not. Like you're in a hurry and they just want to chat your ear off. But
aren't you like paying them by the hour? Don't you want to be like, hey, stop atake, go work a?
Because why do you say it in those words?
Well, that's what
Tucky.
That's what I used to say that a lot with my kids when they're like getting late for school and they got to eat their breakfast. I'm like, less tucky, more eaty. That's okay. That's what goes on.
Okay, well, if you want a home renovation done, please call Larry. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Anderson Cooper saying thanks for stopping by.